This digital story answers two linked questions. First, what role does consumption play in my day-to-day existence? Second, how do academic study help me to understand my own behavior? I use a practice-based view as my frame. Following Wild's, consumption is not itself a practice but rather a moment in almost everyday practice. This means the important thing is how purchase and use hang together closing a day, how materials, skills, rules, and meaning combine while I move through time's place. I will walk through one weekday, commute coffee, lunch dining, supermarket stop, platform shopping, gym training, part-time employment, and evening weekend leisure, and link each thing to research. My way to campus or work, I usually buy takeaway coffee. It is not only caffeine, it is a small ritual that places me inside a shared rhythm. The coffee, queue, and loyalty screen mark a boundary between home and work. Xu and Li can help explain why this simple act is culture, not only biological. They train supermarket media as corporates owned and control sides of communication and culture production. So their focus is magazines. The mechanism is similar clothing, food retail, corporate media package, functional and symbolic value together to guide practice. Coffee apps and the foresights nudge me in the same way. Yet, the truth is not fully closed. I sometimes switch to cafes for noise, price, or time. That makes strong steering with open outcomes prepares the ground for later things. At midday, I often eat with classmates or colleagues from different backgrounds. Where we go, what we order, and how long we sit are small but meaningful decisions. Nobel and Anne show how Australian super diversity changes the distribution and cultural capital and taste. Survey data suggests a vastly enhanced stock of global cultural capital across Australian society based on the disparate cultural engagements of migrant groups. At the same time, differences do not necessarily point to the existence of distinct ethnically defined taste culture. This helps me read the table. My Lebanese friend picked up for a charcoal chicken place is not just ethnic taste. It is part of a shared urban repertoire where we compared price, spend, and what we call the purple and healthy. Lunch therefore reproduces identity and belonging, but not as a fixed block. It is negotiation. Many afternoons, I stopped at the supermarket to plan dinner or buy snacks for the next day. Here, Xu and Li are central. They conceptualize how retail media established new relations between the functional and symbolic value of food products and propose us to engage into the advocate food practice. Later, they describe how brand orange stories, chef endorsements, and layouts work together to construct and reinforce relations to food practice. I noticed this when a health brand magazine ran a 7-page local beef feature. The magazine linked flavor, national economy, and my role as a supportive customer. Sometimes I follow, sometimes I buy the store brand for price, sometimes I reject the whole frame and choose a vegetarian option. The point is not that I'm fully free, it is that practice includes small adjustments that the page could not fully script. Later in the day, I often go online buy some small things, especially for training. Straps, shake bottles, or second-hand plates. Here, I feel both convenient and subtle control. Challenge shows how community on platform is a government technology, not just a warm feeling. The effective environment increases access thickness and reduces switching costs, which promotes customers locked in, raising waiting lists and safe searchings make me reluctant to move elsewhere. Jared also argues that platform community operates as a disciplining tool within a frame of narrow government, wherein the rest intuition in replace the diffuse control. That highlights the individual responsibility. This helps me name why I often stay in one marketplace even when I know there are cheaper options. The rules feel natural because I have internalized them. My agency shows up as small tactics, waiting a price drop, messaging a seller, or volunteering to save postage rather than as exist. After work I train. Sets, rest, tempo, and learning are not just a private choice, they are learned routines. Once practice learns fastest thing. To be a competent participant in a practice requires to the possession of appropriate tools and devotion of a suitable level of attention to the conduct for the practice. In my case, the tools are shoe straps and app. The attention is technique and load checking. Governance is present here too. The app posts streaks, emails offer challenges. But my body pushes back when they're tired, and I adjust the plan. Practice is pleasant and social, but it is never a script that's written on its own. On most training days, I also use whey protein. At first, I saw this as nutrition only. The research pushed me to look again. Kiel, Lee, and Gao shows that. In their Irish simple, demographic variables, such as gender and income, do not significantly influence the decision on whether or not to consume wine. But exercise type is highly influential. This matches my own routine. On heavy lower body days, I plan a shake. On pure cardio days, I often step it. The authors also noticed that the source of power and strength is stable key consumption driver. That driver is both physical and social. A shake on the train home is a sign to myself that I'm doing this properly, but it also shortens or replaces dinner with others. Slower cooking would be a different statement about time and care. So, even supplementation, function and meaning travel together. I end the day with reading or streaming. This can feel like a guilty pleasure. The research gives me permission to see it as care. Red Wei is not one of my sex core sources for this test, so I do not rely on her here. Instead, I keep Word's point in view, conception as a moment to border practice like eating and swimming. My choice to read a training article or novel is part of how I recover and how I talk with my friends in the next day. Algorithm recommend aggressively, but I still create a small list, which is a mild tactic against the default feed. On weekends, I sometimes visit a local heritage set or museum to buy a small gift. Gazan shows studies for the Stonehenge and Irish studies shows that the size shop are not size issue. They are central to how visitors meet the past. She asks, do the gift shops help to promote understanding of the sets to which they are attacked? What kind of pasts are represented in the items for sale at the shops? Her answer is subtle. The Stonehenge shop offers a bold, almost universal past. Avonbury's shop aligns with a particular pastoral past tied to a class ideas of rural life. Most clearly, in the gift shop, tourists experience a customer idea of the past as it is transformed into objects of modern material culture. When I buy a tea towel with a local map, I'm not only purchased cotton. I'm picking a version of history to carry into my kitchen. This connected back to Xuan Li. Corporate and institutional media do not just sell things. the immediate relations between function and symbol. Across distance, the six thoughts converge in three ways. First, practice is the right unit to analysis. Wood shoots why. Conception is embedded in doing, not a stand-alone act. This let me change coffee, lunch, shopping, training, supplement, and leisure as a one chain. Second, steering is strong but incomplete. She and Li shows how corporate food media join function and the symbol to engage customers in preferred practice. Jerry shows how platform community raise wedge costs and build lock-in, while operating as diffused control. Yet in each case, outcomes remain partly open because practice depends on bodies, skills, time, and local ties. Second, identity is formed in and through this practice. Novel and hence enhanced stock of global cultural capital makes sense of max tables, while Gaden hence shows how we buy visions of memory and place. Kiel et al. Then shows that what we consuming follow what we do, not only who we are. Together, this point answers the first question. Conception structure my day by linking needs, meanings, and identity under conditions of management. The thoughts also push against one another. Xu and Li's corporate focus risks flattening users' practice. Jerry's balance this by revealing how governments work through users' own actions, needs, and self-policing, not only through message. Nobel and Anne caution against reducing difference to fixed blocks. Their data risks both assimilation and simplistic ethic marks. Gaden shots, finally, insist that even the past became a matter of present conception. Ward's Freeman holds these tensions together by shifting attention from isolate choice to choice of activity. In the script, that means I explain the supermarket magazine and the shake bottle not as two separate cases, but as related moments in the dinner and training routines. From this one weekday, the larger stakes appear. First, conception reproduces culture in small steps. The difference between a shared meal and grazing reshapes relations over time. Shop media and platform normal stabilize those routines. Second, conception is not a main set of governance. Corporate media and platform communities still conduct by blending truth with application. But governance meetings limit in practice, body tear, budget change, friends persuade. Third, conception forms subjects. In Nobel and Anne's terms, people draw on global cultural capital to place themselves. In XiangXuan's items, they choose birds to carry home. In words items, they lend competences to devote attention. Finally, the weak shows that behavior checks practice more than demographics. This challenges common sense views that trait conceptions is either preference or price. It is better things as managed, meaningful, and made in practice. Answering the two questions together, changing how I see my own life. Conception in my life is not only buying, it is the way I take care in shared practice, eating, moving, training, raising, under media and platform governance, with room left for truth and care. The readings help me name what I do. Corporate food media tie function to symbol. Platform community governance by concepts. Super diversity express the repertoire of tastes. Heritage shops convert the parts into things. Where use follows practice, not simple diagraphics. And, both all, conception is a moment inside practice. It is why conception matters for modern society and for my own routine. It is joins culture reproducing, governance, and subject formation every single day.